Hey there everyone and welcome back to Hey there everyone and welcome back to Hey there everyone and welcome. As always, I am your welcome Dana.
Hello.
T.
Ew.
Drak.
Now you're trapped here with me.
Luca.
We've come this far.
And Liv.
Oh no.
With some remote assistance from
Cause Problems on Purpose protocol.
You made your way to the secret room that you've sought after for so long now, only to find...
Hold on. This can't be it, right? What is this room?
This room is the gateway to somewhere else. You just need to find the entrance.
What do I see with my tricky eyes?
I think I can see it too.
After some investigation and reaching out with your magical senses, you found the same energy there that Jaiden first detected in the Neon District.
There was water. I guess, just asked the water to help me out.
So we have to figure out what kind of powers are involved here.
With all of your powers combined, you were able to pull the portal more fully into your own plane of existence, revealing a doorway made of cloudy fog.
Do you want to go through it?
We've come this far.
I wonder if Drew's up there.
He might be. If all of the missing people are anywhere, I feel like it's gonna be through there.
Okay, let's go. Together. Yes.
Ew!
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
And you all pass through the doorway. Warning. The following program contains unsettling scenes and soundscapes, and may not be suitable for all audiences. Content warnings and timestamps can be found in the description. Listener discretion is advised. And what you find on the other side, you're not quite sure of at first. There's so much fog here that it's difficult to orient yourselves, and it all appears to be just a big featureless void. However, after taking some time to adjust your vision, you realize that the fog isn't as thick as it first appeared. The space is mainly just so white and featureless because it seems to be a mirror of the room you just came from. The only difference is that the space is much larger than the space you just left, and the closer you get to the walls, you see that large random chunks of the room are missing, as though parts of them have been deleted from reality.
Is everyone okay?
I think so.
Yes. I'm good.
As good as we can be.
Angie, are you okay? You're a cat?
Instead of saying what the fuck, I meow. And maybe you can all infer that that's what I would have said had I been in my human form.
We've heard you swear enough.
We understand the tone of the meow, yeah.
Also, as you wander through this bit of the room, you also notice that while you can see through this fog, it's still quite heavy in the air around you, and your lungs feel like they're struggling just like a little bit more than usual to draw full breaths. So, it's not debilitating, but you can tell that if you spend too long here, or if you do anything too strenuous, you could likely get winded quite fast.
Okay, but it is like an actual physical thing and not some kind of illusion.
Right, it is real fog, real vapor in the air.
Okay. Annoying.
But if you're reaching out with your magical senses, you also can tell that this area is hella magical.
Give me a sec. And Jaiden's gonna try and push some of this fog away, make a little fogless bubble around us, so I don't have to struggle against it.
Ooh, sure. You're just using your air powers for that?
Yeah.
Just push the vapor out of the way? Yeah, sure. I think since there's so much of it and the space is so magical, I will have to have you do an unleash for that.
Yeah. 9.
Okay. You probably want to roll your burn, I guess, as well at some point, right?
Yeah, I'll roll my burn. An 8. Okay, so I get 3 burn, Mark 3 conditions.
Oh, 1 condition.
Oh, yeah, 1, sorry, yeah. I think I'll go with hopeless.
For your unleash, would you like to mark another condition, or would you like it to be unstable or temporary?
I'll go with unstable and temporary. I probably don't fully understand how magical this fog is, so I probably can't keep it back for long.
Sure, I think you can keep your bubble up for a little while, but I think at the first sign of something that will break your concentration, it will probably stop.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like almost like a mini whirlwind around us. Like on the inside it's perfectly still and quiet, but on the outside you see like a wall of wind rushing around us, keeping the fog at bay.
All right.
That should make it a little bit easier to breathe anyway, at least.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jaiden.
It's much appreciated. Thank you.
Do a little kitty sneeze.
Just get little scratches on the top of your head.
After the scritch, I'm gonna go and walk on someone else's shoulder. Probably Bees.
Oh, hi.
Okay, so fog situation's taken care of, but I don't know how we're supposed to find anybody in this stuff.
Yeah, to be clear, you can see the borders of the room, and there are holes in the wall basically large enough to look through and go out of.
Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of freaky being in a mirror world, so I think Lucia's kind of a little freaked out. Listen, it's one thing to create illusions, it's another thing to have yourself trapped in what feels like an illusion, but also feels very real. So I think in general, she's just actually kind of getting freaked out a little bit. Looks a little nervous.
Totally fair.
Side note, I'm good, but...
Good to know. Yeah, if anybody is uncomfortable with anything at any time, let me know.
Yeah, I'm good.
Thank you.
If we look around this room specifically, do we see anything or anyone of note?
Nothing inside the room, but you can definitely see through the holes in the wall. You can see that there is stuff outside the room that is not featureless and white. It looks like there's more chunks of stuff out there anyway.
All right, let's take a look around.
Trixie will steel herself. I think she's doing that thing where she sticks her hands in her pockets, like her big jacket pockets, to look casual, but she's also like hunched over and kind of like hugging it around herself as she goes over. And I'm going to try to assess the situation and peer through some of these windows.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Cool.
So you get to roll superior to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember, do you have any delinquent moves that would help with that?
I do. I have criminal minds. And I hit an 11.
Nice.
Right, so you get 3 questions plus your criminal mind stuff.
Okay. Oh no, you said the windows we can like walk through, is that correct?
Yeah, it's less that they're windows and more like there's just like Minecraft style big squarish blocks that are just not there. Like they've been deleted.
Okay. These are not great questions. Okay. I guess what here would be the biggest threat?
I think as you move closer to the holes in the wall, you can see outside. The most immediate thing that looks like it would be threatening is the stuff floating around outside, which appears to be the Crimson Signal building, but it's disassembled and floating around this space in multiple large chunks.
Oh, okay.
The red colors of the building also are much more muted and dark than they are in the normal world.
Okay.
Except for one big chunk floating off and overhead that looks like it's the size of an entire floor, and that is the same bright red that it is in the real world.
Very Persona, very Roblox. Okay, cool. Awesome. Love it here.
Well, actually, more specifically, also nearby that same floating floor is a large metal cylinder floating right nearby it that is, you would gather, maybe 5 or 6 times the size of a person, and you think that looks pretty suspicious.
Okay. My other question was going to be, who here is most vulnerable to me?
There's no one in your immediate vicinity that would be. I suppose probably it would be best to get a better sense of what this cylinder is and what's inside this obvious glowing point.
All right, perfect. So what's the best way into that little cylinder boy over there? How do I get in there?
You can't see much of what looks like an opening. Like, it's smooth metal for the most part. It does have what appears to be like a semi-opaque glass front. So you're not sure exactly how that opens, but the fact that it has a glass front means that it does open somehow.
True.
And there are doors on the outside of this floating floor-sized chunk of the building.
Okay. We just have to platform our way over there. Cool.
Yeah, because the rest of the building is in pieces. There's stairways everywhere. It's weirdly kind of familiar because it's kind of like the forest maze.
Yeah. I think Trixie just sighs, turns back to everybody, and is kind of like waving them over. I don't think she says anything. She just like waves her hand like, get over here, just all of you, and just kind of like points out the window.
Oh. This is weird.
This is like, I don't even know. This just seems like a really bad game, like a bad video game. But the point is, I think, is that we have to try to find our way over there. And I like point to the cylinder. I feel like, I mean, it kind of looks like a jail cell or something like that. Anybody that we're looking for is probably going to be over there. So here we go.
I mean, it's the only thing that looks like it's anything. So yeah.
Well, I mean, except for that, and I like point to the extremely ominous bright red platform that just is screaming boss level.
Oh, I should also mention there is a sign also on the outside of this part of the building. It is large enough that you can read the text on it from here. It says, SFT Facility Bravo.
Yeah, if this is a video game, we should not step on the glowing red platform.
Yeah, that's... Wait, Callan, you said something about not being able to get inside the 13th floor, right?
Yeah, it was like Friendy couldn't even see what was inside.
Maybe because it was not there. Maybe that's the 13th floor.
Oh.
I think you're probably right.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Same with this room that we're in right now.
I don't like this.
You can't see, but Friendy's shaking their head too.
All right, let's go. And Vivi's gonna start making little construct walkways from platform to platform.
Lucia isn't going to do anything, but I do think she starts like channeling her powers to essentially make everybody so lucky that they would never ever slip on any of these platforms ever. It's like a silent buff for the rest of the group.
Yeah, and I think those are both simple enough uses of your powers that won't make you roll for them.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think you start making your way up towards this building. Problem is, no matter how well you're doing this, as you get closer to the building, you start to hear what seems like a dull blaring from inside of this building that you're moving towards. And you realize, oh, wait a minute. If the alarms were going off in the part of the building that we just came from, they probably have already alerted the people in here, too.
Oh, no.
Okay, Ricky, move on our part.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you hear these alarms going off, you're about maybe halfway up when a door in the side of the building opens up, and you see from that door is a figure in a robe that seems to be made of the same fog, like maybe a little bit darker, so you can actually see them against the fog. But they look like the figure that you saw for a brief moment when Jaiden used his powers in the Neon District. They glare down at you with what you assume to be a glare anyway, because they're staring very pointedly at you. And the cylinder is close enough that they float over to it, and before you can get much further up, they touch a panel on the side of the cylinder. An LED panel on the top of the cylinder lights up, revealing text that reads, Nightmare Star B03 KWAZ. And it seems like the cylinder is starting to hiss and possibly come to life.
I also hiss.
I think we're gonna have company.
The figure ducks back inside the building fairly quickly, but the cylinder is starting to hiss the way that like a cryo chamber starting to open up would open in a sci-fi movie, and the glass panel starts to slide back and slide open. And you start to see through this fog, there is a massive figure inside the cylinder. And as this figure emerges from inside the cylinder, and you see more of the details, you see
You see a figure in repose. As the cylinder opens, you would expect maybe somebody inert, arms folded across their chest, curled up in a ball. But no, you see a figure sitting on what could only really be described as a throne made of rime, like deep sea green ice. Relaxed, holding a teeny tiny cocktail glass in one hand. And then you realize it is because the figure is absolutely huge. What you would describe as maybe a statuesque figure. In fact, actually, it looks like a statue come to life, except roughly hewn from ice or maybe glass or maybe crystal. Their feet end in long ice skate-like blades. Their right hand's fingers extend way too long into razor-sharp claws, and the face of which, comparable to the most glowing of Caucasian movie models of Roman statues, with a long whip-like ponytail which ends also in a sword-like blade. Its eyes slowly roll over towards all of you. Oh, we have guests. All right then. And they slowly get up from the chair.
And as this being approaches you all, you also realize that in the center, at the heart of what looks like this being's chest, is a large, narrow crystal with pointed ends, inside which is the sleeping form of one Kelvin Wyatt.
I recognize a few of you. And points with the one razor-tipped, way too long finger at Queen Bee. I definitely recognize you.
Kelvin?
The one in the same. I really didn't want to see you again. Show, Ruiner.
Queen Bee, what did you do?
I mean, well, it wasn't that good of a show to start with.
Bee!
Oh, and there are 6 people and a kitten present, or 5 people and a kitten?
It's 5 people and a kitten.
5 people and a kitten.
Yes.
Yes.
This is what a balanced adventure party looks like.
Yes, I guess I'm confirming the number of humans because that many, essentially almost like fighting polygon team featureless mannequins all immediately manifest in front of each of your faces, like right up in your grill. And they all say simultaneously, "You made a very poor decision coming to find me today." But then this area is relatively featureless, and I could do with some ice sculptures.
I don't do well with the cold.
Trixie puts her hands on her hips, and 5 more of her appear, and they're all surrounding her. And simultaneously, they're like, "Oh, you're not that special. We can do that too."
Actually, yeah. Then all of the mannequins gain very human-looking mouths and repeat that back to you.
"Oh, you're not that special. We can do that too."
I'm going to try and unleash my powers again to see if I can be a bigger cat.
Sure.
And because I have the thick and thin skinned move, I get to take +1 ongoing to unleash my powers. So I'm hoping that +1 will help.
Yeah, that'll negate the -1 to using one of your new powers, so it'll just be a regular unleash.
Guess we'll see. Hope I don't stay a kitten.
Oh,
I
yeah.
rolled
Hey.
a 10. I rolled a 10.
All right, tell us what happens.
So I stop hissing, I guess. There's like maybe every time Kelvin said something or when they started laughing, I think mostly B could really hear it, but there was just a hissing, and then just, you know how sometimes cats like vibrate and they see an enemy that they want to fight, so that's basically what Bane Kitten's doing. And then she just jumps, and I guess B, it's up to you if you want to try and catch her, but you won't be able to, but then she turns into an actual tiger.
Oh my god.
And then roars. partly excited and partly shocked, but a roar nonetheless.
Yeah, I think I would probably even say that you feel like you can do this a little more easily because of the magical energy of this space. So you feel that path back to where you felt when you first accessed this ability.
A icy eyebrow raises. Oh, well, I suppose it would make sense that Queen Bee, if I recall, would maintain an entourage of other magical performers, although maybe it is apt that you have a circus act rather than a pop star band.
Damn.
So I roar again.
Well, I guess as a clown you'd know.
Also, don't disrespect circuses. Those people work very hard.
Yeah. I'm not really a fan of clowns, but everyone else, they're great.
Pixie just shakes her head.
I think around this time, Vivi readies her sword and says, look, we don't have time for this. We don't know when other guards will come. Whoever this is, we need to get through them. And
whoever this is? Oh. Well, let's go and teach you a lesson today then, as the gigantic figure gestures with one hand, and an ice wall just raises up out of the ground, blocking further progress. Oh no, we're going to have a nice long chat about what it means to be a performer then, since you have such a strong idea of what it takes, mere children. Actually, I recognize you. And almost with surprising speed, the mannequins clear and the figure now is all up in Violet's face. I assume you're transformed.
Yes.
You get an appraising eye up and down. Oh yes, Violet. You reasonably have quite an illustrious career ahead of you, if you can continue to please the label you're working for. Do recognize that the moment that you stop being of prime quality, they will drop you at the turn of a hat. It's a knife edge we walk in this industry.
Oh, I'm well familiar, and I've dealt with egos much larger than yours already.
Oh, this isn't ego. This is years and years of hard work to be respected. I have had to craft myself from the ground up to meet the standards of not just a label, but my audience. I mean, it's not a thing that they would have taught you in whatever, like, teenage idol training camp they put you through, but despite all the years of practice that I put in even before my career, the agent that took me on, his voice cracks slightly, still said that they would find it hard to place me in this industry because I am not, how did they say it? Alabaster enough for the target audience of my music genre. Those who have seen 0 Degrees perform before know from his skin tone that he's like mixed race Turkish, and the head of this figure is very white.
At that, Trixie from the other side just like stomps one of her heeled feet and is just like, well, that's bullshit. Who cares?
And this is why you won't last long in the industry, I'm afraid.
What does that mean, alabaster enough?
It means marketable, Elementum, you know?
But 0 Degrees, you're pretty cool. How are you not marketable enough?
Vivi's confidence is obviously like a little shaken at this. Like, just it means white.
Oh, why is that marketable?
Why indeed. Well, it seems you have a lot of lessons to learn. And it seems that I get to be your teacher for this afternoon. Class is in session.
Are you ready?
Upon the classes in session, we get a proper kind of like boss cut in with like text that appears on screen in the kind of block font that they use in like My Hero Academia or something like that.
Yes.
And instead of it saying 0 Degrees, it says absolute 0. As they start snapping their fingers with one hand and tapping their foot as kind of just music comes out of nowhere and they start preparing to dance.
And this sounds like the perfect opportunity to enter battle against a dangerous foe as a team.
Yes, it does.
Yep. Oh. This is my first time. Ooh.
So you automatically get 2 team added to the pool to make a total of 5, and you can get more or fewer depending on your answers to the following questions. So first off, who would you say is the leader of the group currently?
Vivi's sort of trying to...
Yeah, I think it might be Vivi.
I think it's Vivi.
She's got her sword raised, she's literally taking point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so does the leader have influence over every teammate?
Yes, over here.
Yes, over here.
Yep.
Yes.
You all have influence over Karen at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get an extra team for that. What is everybody's purpose in the fight? If it's the same for everybody, you'll get another one.
I mean, upon realizing that this is Kelvin, this is 0 degrees, and seeing them asleep in the crystal in the chest, the thing is to break 0 degrees out, at least for Jaiden. I don't know if it is for everyone else. Save 0 degrees.
I think for Angie, not Bane Raven, is when Bane Raven and B were there in their showdown, afterwards, Angie kind of wiped out very publicly in front of a bunch of people with phones, and Kelvin did try to help her. So she feels this is her chance to rescue that person. Yeah, she's in the same, I guess, long way to say that she's in the same boat as Elementum, that she wants to break Kelvin out of there.
Yeah, no, it's good to get the reasoning behind it, though.
Vivi doesn't know Kelvin personally, but our purpose here is to rescue people from Crimson Signal, and it's obvious that the person inside Absolute Zero is trapped here, so that's her purpose as well.
For Vivi, or not for Vivi, I'm not Vivi, whoa! For Lucia, you know, she was brought here because, like, we're on a rescue mission, and I think everybody knows at this point that she is a secret 0 degrees stan. So, if you got a chance to rescue your favorite, wouldn't you?
True.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, 100%.
I think Jaiden's very more openly a fan.
They can never know she has interest. Nobody can ever know that she thinks they're really cool.
Yeah, no, I think we want to rescue Kelvin, even if it's just to lord it over them.
Perfect. We have a total of 7 team.
While dancing, a small replica of Elementum appears, and they said, I did a little bit of research on all of you, and wow, I didn't think that you would actually employ such a literal child. And this version of Elementum is what you're wearing already, but it's like outsized. It looks too big for you. Like you have not actually grown into the outfit and therefore into your role. You're too young for this job, kid. Get out while you still can.
I'm not too young. It's always good to start young so I can have time to get better.
Let's go for the provoke someone, I think.
Okay.
It's a hit at a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I specifically want, because Absolute Zero, or at least Kelvin Wyatt inside there, is aware of what all of you do in terms of power set.
Yeah, you get Wi-Fi in the fog dimension. You've had time to research.
I think the debut of at least Daggerfall circumstance was a kind of what went around the sphere, even before 0 degrees met Bane, Raven, and Queen Bee in person. So there was a degree of putting 2 and 2 together of who those people were.
Oh, yeah. So you would have seen the video. Yes.
So, as a bit of dramatic irony, somebody who has ice powers would rather not somebody who has fire powers be doing things. So, yeah, this kind of like making Elementum self-doubt is to make them hesitate in actually trying to attack Absolute Zero. So, yeah, this is specifically trying to get you to not attack him.
Okay. And if I don't, do I get a condition?
Yeah, so if you do attack anyway, you mark a condition. If you don't attack, then nothing happens.
Okay. I think he does hesitate a little bit, thinking about how when his powers first came about, he did accidentally hurt his little sister, and now someone else pointed out that they have full control of their powers or their role, don't know their role in the group yet, so he kind of staggers backwards a little bit and hesitates to do anything and just raises his hands in more of a defensive stance. I I still have time to figure out my role.
A laugh is all you get in response. Since we have Violet's Violet was kind of like closest, the clone of Violet's Violet shows up in the fit of the kind of like goth Lolita outfit is all wrong. It would be like an ill interpretation of somebody who doesn't understand the subculture or the kind of vibe that you're trying to go for.
Oh, the ultimate crime, the faux Lita.
The eater, I think, is the term.
Oh, yes.
And that one says to you, is like, they will force you to be the person that you don't want to be. You're going to have to jump to their whims, be their mannequin until the end of your days, until they break you.
Vivi just makes a face and starts attacking with her sword. Does not have a response to that.
Are you going for the mannequin, or are you trying to bypass and go for absolute zero?
The mannequin.
All right, so that sounds like a directly engaged threat.
Yeah, that's getting under her skin enough to go for the mannequin rather than the actual source here. And that's a full hit.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
So what would you like to happen for that?
I have to impress, surprise, or frighten the opposition, as well as resist or avoid their blows.
The copy of you also gains like an ice rapier and goes at you, but you chip away at it as if you were stabbing it with like an ice pick.
I think there has to be, a mirror match where their swords are hitting each other, but the ice sword chips away and snaps, and Vivi takes the opening to bring her own sword down and thrust it through the center of the mannequin.
The mannequin explodes in a shower of Swarovski crystals and glitter. And Absolute Zero has returned to their seat again and is sitting like legs crossed looking at all of you and nods like, yes, good.
I think while this is going on, by the way, I think Karen is trying to sneak around various bits of the world, trying to avoid the gaze of everything.
Can I actually try to assist with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Because she wasn't in the video. Well, I guess she was in the video. She was just the victim of it.
She was the victim, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you have a better chance at avoiding one of these psychological attacks.
Okay, I think I see Karen, like, moving around and stuff. I still have, like, my illusion copies. It's not, like, actual physical copies, different than the mannequins. But I think all of us just yell out, like, at the top of our lungs, just like, 0 degrees! And trying to, like, get Kelvin's attention. And if they, like, look over, I think you just see, like, Trixie almost in tears, just, like, hands to her heart, pleading, just... This isn't actually who you are. You're such an amazing artist, and you're so supportive, and you're groundbreaking. You really are. And I've watched you for so long, and I'm a big fan, and I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. Like, I don't know how somebody who looks like me could even think about doing this at the level that you are. And it's just really important, and I wish that you, like, actually could see. And she's just, like, running her mouth, because I want to use the move, Are You Watching Closely? When you mislead, distract, or trick someone, roll plus superior.
Yeah. No, amazing.
I love it.
Yes!
Wow.
I'm sorry, I know I'm peeking my mic. I'm so sorry.
14.
I rolled a 14.
Oh my goodness. On that kind of a roll, I think that's probably gonna affect you on some level, Kelvin.
Oh, yeah. Some of the other mannequins stop what they're doing as an equal number of mannequins to the number of illusions that Trixie has summoned show up immediately next to them. And because so many additional ice dancers are out at once, some of the older ones don't work correctly anymore. It seems there's a bit of a limit to how many Absolute Zero can control simultaneously. So at this moment, the ones that are fighting have stopped working for a while. The ones that are paying attention specifically to Trixie after that outpouring of fan kindness, look at her like they were all initially featureless faces, and then they all specifically carve out of their own faces 0 degrees faces, and with an expression of absolute pity say, I have no idea who you are.
Oh. But yeah, regardless, Trixie, you do get 3 from your Are You Watching Closely list.
Yeah, so I'm going to choose I expose a weakness or a flaw. I get an opportunity. And I confuse them for some time, which I think kind of works because, like you said, you have so many of these mannequins focused on Trixie.
You've also aware that they can't run that many at once, it seems. So there's definitely an opening.
Yeah, sounds like a good weakness or a flaw. And we'll get to the opportunity, but I think once you're that close, Trixie lifts up her head and wipes her fake tears away and just kind of smirks and is like, you'll know soon enough. And hopefully Karen's going and doing whatever she's doing. Go, girl, go.
Yeah. She's scrambling up bits of debris and building behind where the main action is happening, teleporting here and there with the help of her friend to get to bits that she can't climb on her own until she gets kind of like on top of the cylinder where Absolute Zero can't see. Like, because you said that they're thrown inside the cylinder right now, right?
Yeah. The cylinder's open and there's a big ice thrown inside that is Absolute Zero is reclining on.
Yeah, so she's gotten up on top of the cylinder for now. She looks like she needs to take a breather for a sec from what she just did, but she looks like she's in a good vantage point to do something once she's ready.
I don't think Absolute Zero is aware that Bane Raven can turn into animals. So there isn't really much cutting to the heart of things that Absolute Zero would be able to do.
And your pet tiger.
Yeah, very odd. I think
you look like you have fleas. I don't know.
I think the ice clone, it's still humanoid rather than cat-like, but it's just kind of keeping you busy, giving you thrusting attacks at you every so often to kind of keep you on your toes.
Okay.
And away from everybody else, so being a specific kind of, hey, if this thing is fighting you, you can't fight anything else. Although it's definitely operating a lot more slower and robotic now that there seems to be a bunch of other ice dancers in the same space.
Okay. I think Angie knows there's some limitations to the cat form, so she knows like she's not going to be able to run over there and try to break Kelvin out of the crystal that they're encased in. So yeah, I think she sees what Trixie did, and she's probably going to try and do something reckless, like take on two at a time to try and split that focus a bit more, if possible.
Sounds like a good plan.
And I'll roll, I guess, directly engage, and we'll see if she succeeds with that.
Sure. And I'm just on the fly, like, because this seems right. You are a giant tiger, and you are using your physical strength to do that. I'm going to give you a +1.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
That's a 12.
Everybody's rolling
Very
real good.
Yes.
Holy moly.
Don't worry, I'm gonna roll soon and I'm gonna break that.
Stop it. Don't
It
you
seems
dare
like-
bring that nasty energy into this.
I already have a -2 to my unleash my powers. I'm gonna roll bad.
It's definitely better than when she was trying to attack the guards and just turn into a fluffy kitten instead of
Yeah.
the tiger at the time. So I think now that she's a tiger, she's like, yeah!
Yeah, oh no, it seems like you traded your good rolls for the first half of the heist.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll see, though. This is only the one.
Maybe they'll keep going.
Yeah, I probably jinxed it now. But anyway, I think she would be able to do that.
Yeah, so you get to pick 2 from directly engage.
I am going to resist and avoid, and also create an opportunity for my allies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you try and go for like a biting attack at one point, and one of the ice dancers tries to grab you by the inside of the mouth, so you're kind of in like a locked state, and then with your superior bite power just cleaves straight through the forearms of this ice dancer. Queen Bee. The ice dancer that's in front of you doesn't say anything, but actually just specifically tries to just attack you silently. It doesn't actually go for any particular witticisms. It seems that Absolute Zero just wants to be rid of you more than anything else.
And that's the biggest insult.
And actually, I would like to make a roll for this one.
Yeah.
I'd like to use a wield my powers roll in this particular instance. They're not messing around.
For sure.
This is the result of the Twitter battle from a few months ago.
Oh my goodness.
Of course it's a 5. Of course.
Classic Kelvin.
Oh, God.
Of course. Directly attacking teens does not work.
Okay. going to try and keep the middle bit as fast as possible today, just because this is a long episode as is, and also I don't want to break up the flow more than is necessary. This, I think, is one of our most outstanding episodes to date, and we've all been super, super eager to finally show it off, and I'd like you to get back to that as soon as possible. So, let's roll. Speaking of rolling, the only major announcement I have to share is that SuperIdols RPG will be participating in Rainbow Roll Fest. Yeah! It's an online podcast festival dedicated to queer actual play podcasts, run by some of the fine folks over at the Be Gay Roll Dice Network. There will be a selection of shows from the network showing at the festival, as well as an array of other queer AP podcasts to discover and enjoy. It's happening over the weekend of June 18th and 19th, and will feature show screenings, live shows, Q&As with show creators, and lots more. We are going to be screening a condensed version of episode 30, Obligatory Beach Episode. Since that's one of our most fun recent episodes, it doesn't require much canon knowledge for new listeners, and come on, who doesn't love a beach episode? Come on. Somewhat related, but a Rainbow Roll Fest will also be the public premiere of episode 1 of Roar to Heaven, the podcast I helped co-produce and kickstart back in December, and which I will also be a main player on. Oh my god, finally getting to play a game has been so goddamn fun the last few months that we've been recording the show. Good lord, you're gonna love this show. Anyway, super exciting all around, and I hope you decide to drop in and check out some of the great queer shows for Pride Month. Also, as always, just wanted to remind you that the Patreon exists and was updated recently with new rewards. You can go to patreon.com/SuperIdolsRPG, and you can support the show for as low as $1 a month and get access to the full archive of all of our legacy Patreon content, including uncut episodes, before and after session talks, outtakes, and extended sessions from our 2 soloists episodes. You also get access to the current alpha draft of my upcoming game, SuperIdols RPG: A New Stage, as well as the Patreon-exclusive show Idol Talk, an in-character talk show where rotating members of the cast discuss the most recent episode. The Idol Talk for this episode, featuring Nathan Blades, is going up probably the day after this episode goes out, so if you're already a patron, you can look forward to that in your patron feed very, very soon. And if you really want to support the show more, you can support at $5 or more per month, which will get you access to exclusive one-shots and mini-campaigns going forward. We're going to be recording the first one-shot for this tier soon, and that'll be dropping most likely in early June. The one-shot is going to be GM'd by Luca, actually, who has homebrewed a variant of Honey Heist called The Great Blood Bank Robbery, which is a What We Do in the Shadows inspired game about a group of awkward vampires planning a heist to steal blood from a blood bank. I'm already smiling ear to ear just saying that. Your 2 stats for the game are Vampire and Dork. If you go too far into Vampire, you break the masquerade and start attacking people. And if you go too far into Dork, to quote Luca, you get completely sidetracked, forget the heist, and end up part of a bowling team or something. Oh my god, I'm so excited to play this, you have no idea. I cannot wait to play a socially awkward vampire. The role I was born to play. Anybody who knows me in real life know that I live my life like a vampire anyway, so this is just bringing real life into the role. But of course, the other major perk of the $5 tier is that you get to join our official cheerleader squad and get your name shouted out here on the podcast. So thank you all very much to our cheerleaders, Adam K., Orabald, Blake 1995, Chris T., Circus, Ericune, Great Big James, Jordan Cuttlefish, Liv C., Noreen, Rowan B., Tanner S., T., and Vivid Revolution. Thank you all so much as always for supporting the show. It makes my heart go doki doki. Sorry, that's not my line. If you know, you know. I'm in a bit of a deliria right now because I've only had like 3 hours of sleep, so you're lucky you're getting this episode at all. So thank you very much for listening to the middle bit, and I will let you get back to the episode after this ad for one of our lovely Be Gay Roll Dice Network friends, the Junket Podcast. Talk to y'all again in the Arc 2 finale next episode.
The year is 2225, and the end of the universe is nigh. Welcome to the Junket Podcast. The Junket Podcast is an actual play and really gay TTRPG adventure currently running the Maelstrom campaign, a science fiction take on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition featuring spaceships, space aliens, and a whole bunch of space gays. Follow a found family of misfits and miscreants on a cosmic caper that features science and magic, love, loss, and a whole lot of laughter. Who knows, maybe they'll even save the universe or something along the way. Did that tickle your fancy? If it did, new episodes launch every other Thursday at 5 p.m. GMT on all major and minor podcasting platforms. See you soon in the Maelstrom Galaxy.
Describe again what you were intending to happen.
So this ice dancer just goes with worlds of blades and claws and is just directly attacking Queen Bee at full force. But then I guess at half speed, because currently we're at ice dancer processing capacity.
I think the downside of this is just Queen Bee's too cool for you and gets to retaliate in whatever way she deems fit. And I'm going to let Queen Bee get a +1 on whatever her response is going to be.
Oh, okay. I think Queen Bee is going to dodge the attack, pirouette around the ice mannequin, and just do like a judo throw, shattering it against the nearest wall.
Like the other one, it explodes into crystals and glitter.
That's all I had, Kelvin. You need to find some new moves.
At being insulted again, Absolute Zero gets out of their throne. You can speak big words all day, but there are so many performers out there that do nothing but post on Idlegram, shouting down the artists that they don't like, but do they actually create anything at the end of the day? You're supposed to be an artist, not a tweeter. And I guess in RPG reaction box text to being insulted, Absolute Zero gets angrier in red text. I guess this kind of goes... The Drak, you've been... Elementum's was shaken for a while, but I guess you're in a position now to get it going.
Yeah, now a lot of the heat is off Elementum, so I think you're probably okay to attack at this point.
Yeah, when I look over the edge of these platforms, what do I see?
Like, where exactly are you looking? Are you looking up towards the building, or, like, just out in general?
Out and down. Like, is it like just an endless drop? What's below us?
Well, there's definitely a floor to this space, like, or a ground of some sort. It doesn't seem to be, like, tangible earth, ground, or whatever it is that you would find in the normal world, but it does seem to be... I guess it would be more of this fog, but if it had taken solid form, basically.
Okay.
And otherwise, it's just this large void that's full of pieces of the Crimson Signal building. Further out in the fog, you even see some pieces of what surrounds the building, like the trees and lawn just like floating vertically in the air. You see like the faint forms of people, but they're clearly not here. Like you can see like shades of people who are in the real world. Like you can see like a security guard floating off in a chair, sleeping, that you can see through, or like someone playing on their phone as they walk by at night, that kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. Still a little bit shaken, he kind of turns to his ice sculpture duplicate and then to 0 degrees and just says, you know what, you're right. I'm still trying to figure out where exactly I belong in this group, but I think that just means I have a lot of space to grow, and I don't think that's a bad thing. By the way, I don't think that looks anything like me. I could probably do better. And I want to use 2 burn to create a construct of myself to counteract this ice version of me. It's going to be like just pure flames. Erupts out from, it's almost like a shadow comes out from the bottom of his feet, like a shadow scorched into the ground, and then it stands up horizontal and squares off with the ice sculpture version of me.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. Is it like accurate, or did you like make you bigger, more muscular?
I think it's accurate. I think it's like a 1-to-1 thing.
Nice.
It's exactly as he sees himself in a mirror. And he's just going to have that hopefully occupy this ice sculpture of him as he tries to approach 0 degrees, just saying, Kelvin, I don't know if you're in there, but I just want to say I've honestly been a big fan for quite a while. I'm still not entirely sure what it means to be marketable, but you have a lot of fans out there the way you are, not this.
So, in a lower voice, but still kind of addressing you, like the Absolute Zero turns to you and says with some audible regret, well, the version of me that they adore, the singles that they buy, are created by my label and myself, but the version of what I bring to things isn't exactly what people want to hear. It has to be processed by somebody who knows the industry better than me, I suppose. And it will happen to you too one day. You're gonna voice that you want to have your own creative decisions and be told that if you want to succeed, if you want to continue your career, it's going to have to be compromised by somebody who knows better.
That doesn't have to be the only way. It can't be the only way. I want to make my music.
Absolute Zero sighs. Your music,
Yeah. And I want to hear yours.
Absolute Zero hasn't heard your original song yet, because they were yeeted into the ether before they could...
They were put on ice.
Oh,
there it is.
Damn it.
Before your debut performance, unfortunately. But they do go kind of like, oh, well, there was one that I've been working on for a while. And clearly you need to see what true choreographed talent looks like. And all of the ice dancers stop what they're doing and go to Absolute Zero, who in front of the throne, so they're standing now in front of the cylinder with the ice thrown inside as if it were a stage centerpiece. And all of the ice dancers and Absolute Zero in simultaneous perfect synchronicity start dancing to a song nobody's heard before. In a similar function to that, there was music that kind of started as this kind of combat kicked in. The music changes to something else that you've not heard. It's a little rougher. It's clearly something that hasn't been fully processed yet. It's not been quantized. This is clearly something that was like a demo that hasn't been mastered yet, but maybe Kelvin Wyatt still remembers well enough to be able to recall via the power of thought rather than any actual music player. No attack occurs. They're all just kind of dancing.
I guess worth noting, you can't see because you're not facing that way, but if the cylinder is this prop on your stage, then Karen is just kind of sitting crisscross applesauce on top of
absolutely.
it, still studying the situation.
Absolutely. It does start getting colder in here, though. And both Bane Raven and Queen Bee probably go oh no.
Yeah, you can see bits of the building chunks around you are starting to frost up, and icicles are starting to grow all over the sides.
So, Eryn?
Yeah?
What opportunity did I create for my allies when... Oh, I guess I answered that because B actually ended up.
I think B got her own opportunity because Kelvin failed a roll, so I think you are still owed an opportunity.
I might say that the ice dancers that you were fighting are now pretty heavily damaged, and they're still kind of dancing even with kind of limbs missing. But they are quite obviously not going to be putting up much of a threat if they were to be engaged with by anybody else.
Yeah, so that might be the opportunity there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Vivi is also kind of looking around and says to the rest of the group, I can't just hack through the ice. We need strength and we need fire, and nods at Bane Kitten and at Elementum and tries to create a ramp over the dancers straight to Absolute Zero for the two of them.
Yeah. I think as you're doing this, you spot Karen behind Absolute Zero, and looks like she's gotten a brainwave, and she's pointing frantically in the direction of the crystal on Absolute Zero's chest, and waving her hands like someone trying to do ooh, I'm a wizard kind of wavy hands. And I think without trying to be heard, she's trying to tell people that you should focus your magics on the crystal.
Yeah. I nod, and I'm going to try to create a ramp for Angie and Jaiden to the crystal.
Barrel right on through, just like fire right into the crystal.
You know what? I'm telling them that we need brute strength, we need fire, that how they do that is up to them, and apparently not to me. Because that is a 3 I rolled.
Okay, so this is like me and playing way too many TTRPGs. Are we allowed to use multiple, like, team points?
I think each person can use a team point.
Yeah, each other member of the team can contribute 1 if we're all working together.
Yeah, although I know you have that one move that lets you use 2.
Yeah. Okay, you said that there's, like, ice starting to come up around everywhere, right?
It's getting rapidly colder in here.
Yeah. So I think Lucia's going to try to channel one of her new abilities, which is to kind of like create basically walls of hard light. And I think she like focuses on creating one and like taking a note from Bane Kitten, raises one fist as she's like building this large wall and punches one forward so she can try to like crack through some of the ice. So Vivi can use an actual physical structure in her yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like trying to like give Vivi like a physical structure to build off of rather than her trying to like make it entirely on her own. Troublemaker. I'm being destructive.
Okay, so you're trying to see if multiple people can add team points to make this a mixed success.
Yes, because if that works, it's a +2 instead of a +1.
Yeah, and you don't have to spend 2. You just like take 1 and it counts as 2.
Yeah, buy one, get one free.
So we're now sitting at a 5, so you need at least another 2 team points to get it to a mixed.
Yeah, so who else thinks that they can help here?
I don't really know how in this form I can help, but I think what Bane Kitten can do is, and Elementum, let me know if you're up for this, but I was going to see if she could get Elementum to ride her, and then maybe the platforms don't have to be so close together. She can just jump from 1 to 1 to get Jaiden there, to get the opening that Jaiden needs to get to the crystal.
That's amazing.
I think that makes sense. Is that how you were envisioning the construct that Vivi was making, Dana?
I was just thinking of a ramp straight there that they could run up, but if she's having trouble and everyone is having to like pull together to make it work, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe it's only coming together in parts, and you're not able to make a full ramp up.
Yeah.
Maybe affected by the space that seems to break everything apart.
Yeah, possibly.
That would put us at 6, I think.
Okay.
I can bump out 1 more. Elementum looks around and sees that there's a lot of ice being formed, and he has a bit of control over ice and water as well anyway. So he kind of shapes the frost underneath this ramp to further bolster it and maybe even extend it a little further to actually reach absolute 0.
Okay. So to reframe again, when that miss was rolled, the ramp happened and it was positioned in a way where attack would be really easy. For this partial success, the ramp happens and the platform that Trixie makes puts you at conversational height rather than an easy attacking position to absolute 0 instead.
Okay.
Ooh.
So I think as we're charging up, I'd probably like lean down near Bane Tiger's ear and just say, I know they're attacking us, but I feel like we should talk first, please.
She nods.
The ice dancers are still dancing. Absolute 0 is also still dancing. They haven't attacked yet.
Yeah, this whole musical production is happening underneath the ramp as you head up it.
And as we go up, I kind of reach behind me and like pull out, almost like I've been hiding like in the back of my shirt, but I pull out my onyx drumsticks. And as we're charging up towards absolute 0, I want to start like, it's almost like I'm playing the drums in the air. And I want to play along with 0 Degrees and the song they're playing, the music they're playing. And if I can, and this is probably going to be a roll for this part, interweave the piece that I worked on, that we all worked on, honestly, but the original that we performed, I'm trying to interweave it with 0 Degrees' original.
Ooh, sure. Absolutely. I'm down for this.
Yeah, and I don't want it to like overwhelm absolute zeros, but just complement it.
Yeah, okay. No, I like this a lot. So definitely you're going to want to unleash your powers for that.
Oh, God damn it. Okay.
We used a lot of team on the ramp, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still have 4, though. That's a respectable amount.
Okay, I'm just going to do it. And also charging beside us is my flaming construct. I think he's also playing, I think he's got like a flaming set of a keyboard kind of
I love
appears
it.
and he's playing alongside. And yeah, I'm just gonna, God. Oh, that was pretty good. Okay, great. Ooh.
Not bad.
All right, someone could definitely spend a team to get the 9 to a 10.
Okay, let's see. Help me picture it better, sorry.
So we're going up this ramp that's an amalgamation of Vivi's construct energy, hard light from Trixie, some ice from me, and I think
she leapt, I think.
Yeah, I basically got you there.
Yeah, and we're all running up this ramp.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else is on the ramp right now. Is anybody else on the ramp, or is it just you two right now?
I think it's just us, yeah.
Yeah.
The rest of the team's like sitting behind.
Yeah. I'm on Bane Tiger's back with my elemental construct kind of gliding at this exact same speed as us as we're going up, and kind of see Jaiden pull out his drumsticks and starts playing in the air, and it's kind of like it hits hard air, and out of that point where it makes contact, just hear sound reverberate. Same with the fiery keys. I think, in fact, my construct is probably playing like the guitar.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to say, as you're doing this, there seem to be, like, as you make these hits in the air, they are actually hitting something, like, not, like, physical something, but it seems like there's, like, almost like a glowing golden light on every hit in the air that you make.
Okay.
And your chest is glowing faintly golden as well.
Oh, okay.
I won't say if this fully works yet, because we want to see how this help goes out. But Luca, does that give you a picture of what's going on?
Yes. Okay, I still have a handful of my disco bees that I brought with me.
Sure.
So I can just send them to hover on Jaiden, and they start glowing and buzzing in time, adding a bit of a electronic note to it.
Yeah, like an electronic buzz or bass or something.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, and as they glow, they seem to take on that same golden hue that is emanating from Jaiden right now.
To note, bees do horrendously poorly in the cold.
Yeah.
However, because Elementum's construct is specifically a fire elemental one, the temperature near Elementum is even enough where the bees are not having a miserable time.
Mm-hmm. Magic glowing bees have a little bit of armor against the cold, I think, as well.
These bees are thriving right now.
This is a sweet gig for the bees.
In a different circumstance, Absolute Zero might have made it absolutely too cold for the bees to show up.
Yeah, I guess it's probably worth noting that in combination with the cold, obviously, like, Jaiden's air bubble has burst by now.
Oh, yeah.
So that the heaviness of the fog around you is definitely taking it out of you a little bit. Again, it's not anything to have a mechanical effect right now, but, like, you can feel yourself getting a little more winded than you normally would be doing this sort of thing.
I'm actually, Nathan made a very good point. I'm actually willing to lose the bees on this.
Sure.
Okay.
Like, you don't have to right away, but they can be there long enough to do their thing and then fizzle out.
But as you, play and that kind of builds into it, you notice two things. One, the song that 0 Degrees, well, what's within Absolute Zero is playing is not amazing. Not in just the fact that it's clearly a demo. It's not especially groundbreaking as a composition. This dance, though, it's intricate, it's fluid, it's both complex but easy to understand and maybe easy to learn in key parts of it. The second thing that you kind of notice is that as you're playing, you realize that actually a lot of the song that you're injecting isn't really coming out of your drumsticks. It's you recalling the song from you having played it before, and just you thinking the song is also playing it.
Wow, okay, cool. So yeah, I think as we get to the end of the ramp, I think he said that ramp was now at conversation height. He just kind of shouts out and says, if this is your song, I think it's amazing. Oh, this is a song that we made ourselves. I worked really hard on this all night and then showed the rest of the group, and they really loved it. And then when we performed it, everyone who listened loved it as well. We didn't need to be marketable. We ourselves are marketable as long as we're ourselves. 0 Degrees, I know you're listening. I know you're in there. We want to hear your music.
Absolute Zero keeps dancing, but replies to you almost in the same way that the song is being played without instruments being played. You just kind of hear Absolute Zero's voice kind of reverberate in the space. This was the 23rd demo that I was requested to put together. This may be the best one I've made so far. It's still insufficient. It still required fixing. It still wasn't quite to the standards that was needed. The fact that I have to keep making these is honestly a drain on my time when I could be working on something so much more. And I think at this point, all the ice dancers and Absolute Zero are now ice skating across in the space, like whirling around in the space in loops. And upon Absolute Zero saying when I could be making something, so they're skating backwards and do like a Surya Bonelli like backflip landing on one skate. So much more graceful, but that's not what they need from me, apparently, despite the things that I've been working on. And in this thought conversation, you can kind of almost see through this construct's eyes memories of working on. You don't necessarily have the technical capacity to know the finer details. It seems to be motion capture technology and simulations of people dancing who aren't 0 Degrees, people dancing in a way that's not as graceful, but getting a virtual construct to mimic the exact same dance moves, and then a bit later a robotic construct doing the same dance moves, and then them trying to do 0 Degrees' dance moves and the robot can't take it. Apparently some of just the physical requirements necessary put too much strain on this thing and it breaks apart.
Interesting. Okay.
So we're working on this project instead. It's what's needed.
But I haven't seen choreography this graceful or beautiful ever. Why don't you just concentrate on that? Why won't your label let you concentrate on that?
Sometimes we have to take the jobs that we don't want to do to be able to survive.
I think, is anybody else doing anything while this conversation is going on?
Vivi's just also walking up the ramp to catch up.
Yeah, Queen Bee too.
Trixie's trailing behind. What's Karen up to? Is she just still vibing up there?
Yeah, it seems like at this point she's trying to peer in like some of the windows of the building to see if she can get a better look in there from where she is. Because she's not sure exactly like what's going on out here or what she can do necessarily, but like she gave you the signal of what she was able to figure out, that like if you focus your magical energies on the crystal, that seems like it would probably do something. And as you get closer, if you see the golden glow in Jaiden's chest, and actually in Queen Bee's chest too, as the disco bees are active, you can see a bit of that same glow is starting to appear around the edges of Absolute Zero's crystal. Not a lot, but it's there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure our good girl was safe. Our good sis. Yeah, I think like as they're walking up, Trixie starts more or less like playing with an illusion, not trying to do like anything super fancy or offensive or anything. I think she almost just creates this pink-toned aurora borealis like around the trio that's walking up to see if that triggers anything.
Like just for a visual effect, or like
more just like I want to pump out magical energy.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, even if it's not to like attack or fight or do anything, but just like have my magical energy out in this space.
Yeah, I think actually that is going to strengthen the glow that Jaiden and Queen Bee both have as you do that. Since you're not focusing it on Absolute Zero, it doesn't do much to them, but it is strengthening what they're doing with their music and their powers right now.
Then, like I said, it's like a pink-toned aurora borealis. I think I start channeling one end of it from me to the crystal.
Yeah, and as you do that, you're noticing that you've got that glow happening as well, and it's very warm. It's like what happened in the room as you were all trying to open the portal together.
The dance simplifies by a lot. So it was originally really intricate and interwoven between Absolute Zero and the many Ice Dancer replicas, but it's now, they're all doing the same thing, and it is much, much simpler. I'm an old man in real life, so I don't know too much about TikTok, but it would be imitable in that kind of energy, right? It's a routine that if you watch loop a handful of times, you could feasibly learn.
Yeah. Just a quick question. How big is this crystal in their chest?
Slightly bigger than a person, large enough for Kelvin to be sort of like fetal position inside of it.
So for Angie's part, I think what she's going to do is she's probably going to start walking back a bit, and she turns her head and gives Jaiden a look, and I think she's trying to communicate that she's intending to do a running leap to follow what Vivi was guiding before, to punch the crystal, which is, you know, Bane's solution to a lot of things. So she's like, okay, it's time to break them out of there now, is basically how she's trying to say it. She's getting ready to do that.
Jaiden just gives there's a bit of a hesitation, but then he nods, just saying, okay, I'm ready.
I think Queen Bee is going to try and imitate the choreography. See if she can draw some attention from Absolute Zero.
Okay. How do you think Absolute Zero is reacting to that? Because I feel like that would probably trigger something, right?
Yeah, Queen Bee starting to do the dance. I think there's enough ice in the space now where it's kind of like lightly covering all of the floor, hence them being able to ice skate around. Once you start doing the dance, it takes a couple of loops of it for you to start getting it, but the ground underneath you moves. Your position kind of shifts, so you are reasonably center platformed to be kind of symmetrical in terms of staging of where everybody is. As a lone dancer, you have kind of felt the ice beneath your feet shift you. So you're now in a different place on the stage from before. Nothing bad happens to you. You're just now somewhere else.
Huh.
Oh, did she basically, did you teleport her, basically?
More or less.
Ah, okay.
Or the literal ice underneath her feet, because it's kind of like a cryokinesis thing, has physically moved you elsewhere. But yeah, nothing bad has happened to you.
Oh, okay, yeah, because there's ice that's part of the ramp. Gotcha.
But yeah, that's what happens to Queen Bee, separate to whatever Bane Tiger is preparing to do.
The list of stage names for Angie is just growing.
It does keep growing. We'd love to see it.
Yeah.
The tiger is out.
Wait, Bane Tigress. Bane Tigress? Bane Tiger? Bane Tigress. I know, we'll workshop it.
I like to imagine Elementum under his breath saying that.
Yeah, he just working.
Like, no, this isn't the time.
Bane Tigress? No, this is not the time. Okay. I want to float this as a question first before I state it as what I do. If you could give me the dimensions of this crystal real quick, about how tall and how wide is it?
It's enough to contain a 6'3" tall man, so it's probably maybe 7 feet from top to toe.
Okay, so no, okay. Damn it. Okay, well, in that case, I want to try something else. I would like to use my last burn to use a move called Snatch.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, there are people who are 7 feet tall.
I mean, that is true. But I want to use Snatch, and originally I was going to try and take the crystal, but I want to see if I can snatch Kelvin himself, just pull them out. So spend one burn to use your power to seize any one object up to the size of a person from someone within view. And I'm trying to snatch Kelvin from Absolute Zero.
Ooh, I think I'm going to have to veto that. The thing that's happening here is going to be too strong for that, but you can make a go for the crystal itself if you want to.
Yeah, I'll go for the crystal itself, and I want to pull the crystal out of Absolute Zero.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Okay.
Okay, I think at this point, it counts as a scene, so I think my flame construct disappears, but as it dissipates, the flames actually wrap around Elementum's hands, almost like gloves, And though it definitely should burn, he seems completely unfazed by it. And he kind of puts his hands together in like a prayer motion and slowly starts pulling it apart. And as he does, you see flames, a similar orange, start to wrap around and engulf the crystal as it tries to rematerialize it between Elementum's hands as he slowly pulls them apart.
As the flames hit the crystal, there is something that I could only really describe as the magical equivalent of like a conflicting command error. And the eyes of Absolute Zero, so the gigantic construct, not Kelvin Wyatt inside, go jet black as the room gets immediately way colder and users wield their powers in response. Kelvin Wyatt inside the crystal thrashes around as if in pain.
Yeah, no, this is, you can feel some real bad negative energy happening here. Like, there was a little bit of a golden glow to the crystal before. It is starting to turn red now as you do this.
I rolled a wield your powers and rolled a 5 because, of course,
because you can't catch a break.
Even if it goes recklessly, that's fine. If it was to go correctly, one of the side effects of wield your powers is to neutralize an opponent or a threat, at least for now, and it would have turned Jaiden into an ice statue.
So thank goodness.
Well, good then.
But instead, I think it just gets bitterly, horrendously cold in here.
Okay. Honestly, if it were just the cold or just the jet black eyes, he would have kept going. But I think seeing Kelvin thrashing in pain inside there, he immediately stops the snatch move and pulls back completely because that was not his intention.
Yeah, I think if you do that, then the crystal is kind of gonna, like, magnetize back into the spot that it was in before and revert to the situation it was in before.
I think the music also goes, like, it's now off-key or off-tempo during that period of time that the kind of crystal casing was, like, taking damage, and now it's stopped. Things have slowly started to pull back into key and time again. And the constructs slowly get back to dancing speed again.
Okay, that didn't work out. That was not what I planned. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Bane is gonna do what she's gonna do, and I think she's gonna be like, okay, well, we just break the crystal then and break them out. So she kind of lowers so that Elementum can climb off, because that was their eye conversation. Like, it's like, if your plan doesn't work, we're doing my plan.
Yeah, and he climbs off, shakes off the flames from his hands.
Yeah, she's going to try and take a running leap to attack the crystal. And I think I'm going to consider that directly engage a threat.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
That would be.
And I'm really sorry if this kills you.
Oh, God.
The way it's casually under their breath for me.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess in that case, actually, the person who does intervene in that case is Karen will give away her spot and be like, no, you're magic. I don't think you should attack that.
I mean, my magic is blunt force, so... yeah.
You need to channel magical energies into it. Don't attack it. If you break it, I think something bad will happen.
Oh, like I was doing.
Because obviously, or rather to kind of, it flashes through your mind of, like, the crystal was trying to be pulled away and it caused, like, a magical feedback error.
Okay. Yeah, well, Angie doesn't know how to do that. So she's just doing the run and then she just kind of skids to a stop in that, like, awkward cat way. Like, she almost gets to the edge and she's like, "Wah!"
Your skidding stop places you next to Queen Bee as to where they currently are on stage.
Your fireworks? They count, right?
Yeah, you have plenty of magic.
She pops out of her form, because probably, like, lost confidence or something like that. So she stands up and awkwardly brushes herself off, sees what Queen Bee's doing, and then she's gonna be like, okay, fireworks, I guess, and then just goes right into the choreography with Queen Bee. And yeah, she's going to, I don't know, emphasize some fireworks here and there. So she's like, pew, pew. It's just like really loud and celebratory and stuff.
Yeah, like some of the glows on the other people have started to calm down at this point because you're not using your powers as much in this moment. But Queen Bee, if you still have your bees going, you still have the glow. Jaiden, if you have any powers going, you still have the glow.
Oh, Queen Bee dancing has been glowing this entire time. Like, even though the bees might have faded away due to the sudden drop in temperature.
Yeah.
Queen Bee is still glowing despite that.
Trixie, if you still have your Aurora Borealis, you still have a glow.
And I think, like, I start playing techie for Bane and Bee. I still have the Aurora Borealis going, but I'm, like, also, like, doing these, like, light shows and these flashes to spotlight them and stuff like that.
Yeah. And the more you start to bring this little show together, the stronger the glowing between all of you gets, and the more glow starts to appear in the crystal in Absolute Zero's chest as well.
I think with this instruction, Valerie is also going to just try to grab the crystal with her telekinesis, which is larger than anything she can usually move with it, but this seems like a clear way to channel her magic into it.
Yeah, I think as long as you're not trying to, like, separate it, I think you're good. Like, maybe if you're using it to try and grab, basically, Absolute Zero's chest cavity to stop them from moving, basically.
Yeah. I do have a move here that would be petty.
Oh, yeah?
I like it already.
Only because it would be very funny if I succeeded. I can mark my doom track to use an adult move. I could attempt to wield my powers with precision and grace.
All right. If you wanna.
I just think it would be very funny if I did that and succeeded.
I think you should do it.
God.
I support it.
I don't.
I can fill up my doom track so many, like 2 more times and it will be fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
I will mark that and I will roll with Freak to wield my powers with precision and grace to try to... I think since I'm doing this as an adult move, it's not even... I don't think it's even like trying to grab it. I think I'm just intentionally trying to overload the crystal with my magical energy. That is a 12. That is boxcars.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
Wield your powers with precision or grace. On a hit, choose 1. On a 10+, choose 2. I'm going to take the 2 options to neutralize an opponent or threat, at least for now, and to take hold of something vulnerable to me.
I think that's very fitting for what you're trying to do right now.
As your telekinetic energy hits the crystal on Absolute Zero's chest, and you initially maybe give it a tentative pull and feel that magical feedback error again, and you stop. But the eyes of Kelvin Wyatt inside open with pure white light shining out of it, and meets your gaze for a second. And it just feels like you're somewhere else for a while. When, as a question to Violence Violet, if you had perfect control of your own staging, so not what Rain Shadow Records would set you as your staging, but if you had perfect control of your own staging, what would it look like?
Oh, it would look like a Gothic Victorian castle. An open courtyard with wrought iron fences everywhere, the most edgy, goth bullshit.
In that case, we find ourselves in a castle courtyard. It is lightly snowing what appear to be large holographic snowflakes settling on a rose garden of roses made of glass. Kelvin Wyatt, not 0 degrees, is in this garden, standing reasonably casually, and addresses you, and then you kind of realize, we're having a conversation right now, it seems, separate to what was telekinesis was maybe actually with this full hit more of a telepathy kind of circumstance.
Yeah, we have the new type connection going on.
Yeah.
As Kelvin says, this industry's a real killer.
Yeah, I can't imagine how it feels to be told what you were told, but I became an idol to try to be more of who I wanted to be, and you were right. I just had to change who I was to get anywhere, to get anything.
But I suppose that's also a sign of growing up, right? Where we realize that our ideals might not necessarily mesh with the real game plan. But you do work hard, actually. I'm familiar with you and your previous discography. Not necessarily the genre that I would work in, but actually really talented for someone of your age.
Thank you. I was being smart earlier. I know who you are. I know your work. I want to be as cool and in control as you always are.
Poise, grace, perfection, and all that. Not my line, by the way. My image coach suggested that one. It's true, though. I am a bit of a perfectionist. For all that has got me. It seems that it's an industry for the young these days. Like, Kelvin is in his mid to late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
It's an industry for the young. If teens can just stage rush one of my concerts and draw a bigger crowd than what I can manage, even with funding and industry backing, then, well, maybe I should be doing something else.
Look, maybe the funding and industry backing isn't everything. Maybe we'd be better off being who we are on a smaller stage.
Going independent sounds nice. And the room fills with white as snow just kind of covers the camera and nothing can be seen. Trixie, if you had full control of your own staging, what would your staging look like?
Oh, I think it would be a sleek, chromatic silver floor that's absolutely reflective. And there's all these different tiers to them where like backup dancers and singers and musicians would be kind of all surrounding, like tiered up in the back. Because then as things get lower and get like physically lower, but also more center stage, that would be where Trixie would like be performing and stuff. And I think there's rigs and stuff for like walks across the crowd and everything that would of course look like, oh my god, she's walking on air. But none of that's like really in focus. I think when we get to that stage, it's a spotlight on the mic where the two of them are.
We're on a walkway made of glass and mirror polished silver. We can see in all directions fragments of a crowd through also mirrored glass and walls. They are both here and somewhere else, watching from afar, but also in the same room. It's very hard to tell with the light kind of refracting across the space. It's almost kaleidoscopic. The audience in the background are all wearing the synthwave-coloured 0 degrees scarf. So the kind of refracting of the audience is in that kind of electric blue, midnight blue, hot pink, as we kind of stand in the middle of the stage. You're incredibly confident. I must say I'm not familiar with your work.
I'm new.
Huh.
And as she says that, you can like just see the insecure 15-year-old just jump out. As she's kind of like holding onto her own arm.
Are you sure this is the kind of debut you want? The group that you're with definitely have a lot of social media clout after their debut performance, but you know, chasing bands just because they're well known might not necessarily be the best option for your career.
No, it isn't. It's not a good idea for anybody to just hop onto a bandwagon, but that's not what I'm doing. I wanted to be like you. I wanted to be independent. I did, like, be my own star, and I'm talented. I could do it.
Don't get me wrong. I can tell that you're talented. It's just sometimes committing to those big decisions kind of limit other alternative options for the foreseeable. He looks away. Did you mean what you said before? Or were you just trying to get my attention?
He does, like, the finger poke thing. I am a big fan. I would love to, like, get your attention. But I did mean it. I am a really, really big fan. And okay, like, we're mixed. We're both mixed. And you're mixed with different stuff, and I'm mixed with different stuff, but I'm not stupid. I know how marketability can work. I've seen it. I've paid attention. I've listened to the groups that my parents listened to and seen the path that they went down. And I mean it when I say that, like, you're opening up a space for super idols. There's no other idol that looks like you, and there's no other idol that does the things that you do. It's those two combinations that make you special, and it's a combination of those things that makes me love your work. And I want to do that too. I want to be somebody groundbreaking because you're groundbreaking to me. And I'll get there someday. Listen, like I said, I'm not bandwagoning. I'm here to learn and to study and become the best kind of idol that I can be. And the rest of these extremely talented losers are going to help me out.
There's like a dry laughter from Kelvin. And he turns to you and looks you in the face quite genuinely and says, I don't think anybody's said that I've inspired them to create before. That's really nice of you, thank you. And the mirrors and glass of the audience folds in, and the screen becomes a riotous nonsense of infinitely refracted colour. What's your ideal staging with nobody to tell you otherwise?
Oh boy, you're gonna learn a lot about Jaiden. He doesn't have one, especially right now, but Jaiden is very much go with the flow. He enjoys all types of music, so he doesn't have like a specific genre. He's flexible almost to a fault. So I think the staging you actually see is like a hodgepodge, mishmashed bit of like any and every genre you can think of, any and every staging arrangement you can think of. It's almost like you got all of them and smashed them together, and you can just see them clipping in and out with each other.
A suggestion?
Yeah?
Considering, this might have changed over the bits and pieces that I've not heard. Is Elementum still a massive fan of the Bon Bon Brothers?
Yes.
I think maybe this stage looks like a pre-existing Bon Bon Brothers set. And you have layered additional things onto it. It's almost like it was hit by like the squids from Splatoon, and where large splats of color have landed, the genre of the staging has changed, but not the physical shape. Like it's been texture replaced.
Yeah, I actually really like that. Yeah, and he's right in center stage with Kelvin.
There's a riotous cheer from the audience, and the camera turns to the audience, and it's nothing. It's just endless tundra.
Oh, okay.
The stage is in the middle of nowhere. I'm really not sure. I would be heartbroken for somebody who had such enthusiasm for the industry to try and jump into the big leagues when they're not ready yet.
Well, it was a good thing I'm not jumping into the big leagues just yet. I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but when it comes to being adored, he says with air quotes, they love a thing about you and will crave more of that thing. Your debut song, it could be a hit, but then people are going to be asking for your next hit. They'll want the essence of the thing that you've made. And if you don't know what that essence is, how are you going to please your audience?
I mean, I suppose that's right, but I would hope that I've gathered an audience that just enjoys my genuine sound.
Don't we all hope that? He looks sad.
Well, I mean, I think there are people out there who do. I'm a big fan, and he just kind of gestures out to his staging. Apparently this is all me, because I am a big fan of the Bum Bum Bros, and I feel like they put a lot of themselves into each and every song they've played, and even the ones that didn't make the charts I really, really loved. And I'm fine, I'm okay with that kind of song. My goal isn't even really to hit the charts, it's just to make music.
Yeah. It is really nice to just kind of create for the sake of creating. Although, well, it'd be interesting to see what your staging is when you know what it is, and not just what you know you already like. Gesturing to the paint splattered like logo of Bon Bon Brothers. It's like partially obscured by splatters of paint.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out, but even when I do, they're all going to have a bit of them inside what I create. They inspired me, and honestly, so did you. Actually, hold on. And he's going to de-transform, because I think I remember, if I remember this correctly, he actually went in the heist in a 0 degrees hoodie.
Yeah, he did.
So he's going to de-transform to show off his 0 degrees hoodie and kind of hold it out and like show it off to Kelvin. See, I'm a big fan, and I'll be honest, I was hoping we'd meet on better terms, but I think this is better than nothing. I really appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah, I can't quite remember the last time I listened to my inspirations, or rather when I watched my inspirations perform. Maybe I need to go back to basics. And there is the sound of like something firing in the distance and a whistling sound, and there are just large splats of paint that rain out of the air with increasing intensity until it kind of starts splattering over the camera and we can't see it anymore. Bane Raven, unless you're going under an official name change, the artist formerly known as Bane Raven.
Yeah. It's still a work in progress.
What does your staging, ideal staging look like?
So there is a stage, but it's half and half. And one half is the stage you would see at a stadium show. So there's like big screens, you know, that would show where the artist is to the audience all the way far back, etc. But then the other half is just a stage. Bane is at a place where her thoughts about fame and getting rich again are starting to change, and she's starting to see a lot of these systemic issues that you've already referenced before, and she's starting to question whether she wants to be a part of it, or if just performing is enough. So that's what the stage looks like. The expectation of what the dream is, and what Angie might just actually want is just a stage to perform on.
I think the ordinary stage half, actually, it's a place you don't recognize. It's outdoors, and you can see kind of in the distance that the floor is cobbled, and you can see a clock tower in the distance that's really elaborate looking. It looks like there's like an intricate like zodiac design on it or something like that. There are flyers around for a promotional event in a language that you can't read, but the camera can tell is Czech. Kelvin Wyatt is mixed race Czech and Turkish. So this is a street performance, but in a place that you've not seen. In addition to it being like a Super Bowl kind of stadium that you do know and maybe you visited before. And is kind of leaning on one of the kind of like speaker towers on this kind of like street stage, and is like this could be a really lucrative gig, actually. If you strike it really big, if you make all the right moves, if you go international, then, you know, you can be set for life. Although leaving the industry afterwards is, well, few people manage.
And she kind of sighs and says, I'm starting to get real pissed off at these companies. These fucking Crimson Signals, these fucking Rain Shadow Records that think it's okay to hurt people. And that there's so many people that don't see that hurt and just see the result of it instead, which is, like you said, a product, something to be sold. I don't know if I want that for me. And I kind of point to the big screens and stuff.
Are you sure? There are a few people who enter the idol industry who decide that they don't want to be seen by millions, to have their name literally up in lights, to have scores of people both in person and streamed online cheering your name. That's not a thing you want. I don't know if I believe you.
Let me be clear. I want that, but like on my own terms.
Right.
And I don't know if I want to sign myself up for any of those, or if I just burn it all down for all of us and have us control our own shows. These systems, I want them gone.
Rather than kind of responding verbally, I think Kelvin just gives a slow nod. I can understand that. I respect it even. You weren't hurt, were you? When you slipped on stage?
No.
Well, that's a relief.
Just embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, the number of before I specifically dedicated my choreography to pop stardom, some of my routines that I set for myself as an ice skater were risky. And you always straddle that knife edge, I guess the skater's blade, between something impressive and something that you risk injuring yourself doing. But you gotta be tough to shoot for great heights like that. So I'm glad you're tough, I guess, if you're gonna be working in this kind of job.
Thanks. And I'm gonna work here, but I think I'm gonna run it too. Not just for me.
Well, when you set up your label, I'll be interested to see what perks you offer. And we hear riotous applause and cheers from stands far away. The clock tower chimes, and Super Bowl confetti cannons go off, and it just kind of fills the space with confetti like a blizzard, to the point where we can no longer really see anything. And finally, Queen Bee, what does your ideal staging look like?
It's almost like a tower. It's a wide hexagonal monolith that rises from the darkness, and it's polished black, but it has hexagonal tiles that can move and raise up and down, forming walls and patterns and steps and surfaces to dance on, and you can see down the shadows, the shapes of a huge amount of people. But they're only silhouettes.
Yeah, it feels like the hollow inside of this tower stretches infinitely in both directions. We can still sort of see the sky, but it seems far, far out of reach. All of the hexagonal platforms that are moving around the space are engraved with large snowflake patterns, the hexagonal pattern being shared in nature for both ice crystals and honeycomb. Floating on separate platforms, I think descending, the only way that we can even really tell what movement we're in is by some of the other hexes in the background shifting relative to our position. Otherwise, it would feel like we're almost perfectly still. There are a lot of people who claim to be part of the industry, who claim to be creators, and then just spend their entire time talking ill of other people and not actually making anything. It's disappointing, really. I mean, I suppose it's a way to start a career, but...
I thought it was you who told me the importance of keeping the character up. of being a heel?
It's more than just I'm able to stick with the personality I've been set for my image because it is an endless swing back and forth between being loved and hated by my audience. I do a stage show, I razz some people, I rile the crowd up, they boo my name, then I perform, they cheer my name, then I insult people because I'm supposed to, they boo my name, and the cycle continues indefinitely, stretching forever, like the tower. But without the constant supply of reasons for them to actually adore me, well, it then ends up being a little one-sided.
Yes, I want them to see me, to hate me, to fear me, to just admire me, and just. It's a difficult role. He looks genuinely kind of maybe not nervous, but a bit off kilter. I wasn't the first person to be given this image. There was somebody else. My agent didn't even really talk about their name much. Just what happened to them. They lent in a little too hard on the love to be hated thing. And, well, the fan response was never ending. And Luca, you remember this, about 2 years ago, maybe 3, there was an up-and-coming within Rain Shadow Records who was hate posting, constantly. It was to other people within Rain Shadow Records, so people who were in the know kind of would be able to tell what's up, but the quality of the songs they were putting out was not enough to balance out the barbs that they were posting a little too frequently. And then the fan response was not only constant, but disproportional to the original barbs that this artist put out. And then they just stopped posting, they stopped making music, they disappeared. And you remember this. You maybe remember one of your friends in school talking to you about how this one person was just unsustainable. There was no way that they could be possibly in a position to be posting like this anymore, and they were going to tell them how they really felt about it. Happens a lot. In the hip-hop industry, actually. It's pretty common to have 2 particular artists start fights with each other, drop diss tracks, and then when social media became popular, sling insults at each other, and the people that weren't in the know and knowing that this wasn't necessarily a way to just sell records, actively, hated them. That can be difficult to bear when it's in social media. Is that really a thing that you feel that you can withstand? Well, I think that the person you mocked on that stage cannot take that, but Queen Bee can take anything.
Well, I suppose I should apologize to the person on stage then.
Don't do that. I needed that. You kind of made me. You gave me the push I needed to really be me. And though you are a colossal douchebag, I will always owe you for that.
Well, I don't really know what to say to that. I guess I'm glad I'm doing my job well. Although I don't really know how much longer I have the job for, so I guess I should be working on a new image. If you have a concept going.
I mean, the ice thing is pretty good.
We'll stick with that for the time being then. And a storm of hexagons kind of rise up from the audience as we hear an equal balance of boos and yells of adoration fill our ears as more hexagons rain out from the crowd below and then kind of obscure our view.
as you sort of come out of this psychic dream space that you've all just experienced, you see that not only are you all glowing golden, not only is the crystal encasing Kelvin glowing golden, in front of all of you, in your chests, you start to see a shape form in front of you in this light, and it feels warm and comfortable, like this is the most natural thing in the world to you. Almost like this is manifesting some of your most deep and treasured feelings all in one little bit of light in front of you. And floating in front of all of you are these crystalline shapes that have not like a star shape, but like an actual like sun miniaturized on the inside of the crystal. And they all pulse in time with the crystal in Absolute Zero's chest cavity. And as the glow reaches a crescendo, the crystal finally shatters into a shower of iridescent light, and the glowing form of Kelvin Wyatt floats gently down to the ground, their eyes slowly opening as their feet touch softly down.
And as if this was the start of a show, there is a spin, a pose, poise, grace, fuck it.
Thank you so much for listening to SuperIdols RPG. And thanks to the wonderful cast of today's episode. Valerie /Violence Violet was played by Dana Lexa, who can be found on Twitter at AuthorX. Angie /Bane Kitten was played by T. Jaiden /Elementum was played by Drak, who can be found on Twitter at Draconics. Alan /Queen Bee was played by Luca, who can be found on Twitter at QueenBE15160871. Lucia /Trixie was played by Liv Chavez, who can be found on Twitter at LiveInADay. And special guest character Absolute Zero, a.k.a. 0 Degrees, a.k.a. Kelvin Wyatt, was played by Nathan Blades, who can be found on Twitter at PhantomArtsEnt. Dialogue and cleanup editing was done by Kathleen Childs, whose work can be found on the Sword of Symphonies podcast at peachgardengames.com. GMing, final editing, and mastering for this episode was done by me, ErynCerise. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at ErynCerise, and you can find more information and art for Super Idols on our website at superidolsrpg.wordpress.com. This campaign is played using Masks, a new generation, written by Brendan Conway and published by Magpie Games, with custom moves by ErynCerise and Zach P. Our ending theme is Born to Drive Me Crazy, instrumental by Humans Win, and is under license from Storyblocks.com. Absolute Zero's dance theme is Buns and Guns 2, a Creative Commons track by Faraj. Kelvin's untitled demo is Demo Session 8, a Creative Commons track by DJ Double K and Ollie. Lucia's Psychic Heart-to-Heart theme is TID, Till I Die, a Creative Commons track by Terry Skills. Links to all Creative Commons tracks can be found in the description. All other incidental music and sound effects for this episode are licensed from Storyblocks.com and freesound.org. Thank you all for listening, stay well, and goodbye until next time.
Oh, did we lose someone?
Oh, did someone drop?
Yeah, Nathan seemed.
Nathan did. The star of the hour.
That was easy.
Oh no!
We won. Okay, cool.
We did it!
Got him.
Rescued. All right, on to the next.
Be gay. Roll dice.
An LGBTQIA actual play podcast network.